Hello, I'm gonna make a downdraft table. About 20 years ago, I bought a universal tool plate to mount circular saw, jigsaw and router. It also has an adjustable fence. When I made my workbench, I thought it would finally come into use again. But when the workbench was all finished, I realized that the universal tool plate was crap. As I got a bandsaw and a table saw, I really only needed a router table. So I made a router table with height adjustment from the top. So what to do with the big hole in my workbench? After watching some YouTube, I got the idea that it would be ideal to make a downdraft table. I got some spare plates for a tool wall. It is just a little bit bigger than the universal tool plate and a bit thicker. Perfect. But first, do the math. Okay, so the diameter of the hose is 70% of the total diameter of the holes. That's a bummer. The diameter of the vacuum hose should be bigger, not smaller. So then I've done the math and I'll ignore it. I used my big router to make the tool plate fit the hole. Well, what can I say? Protective mask has a new meaning. The legs of my workbench makes it a little complicated. Reconsidering the methods along the way. So, good enough. Then it's time to make the box under the workbench. I want to use this thingy to fit the suction hose. I use masking tape to assemble the box to make a mock-up. It's easier to make this box fit by eyeballing and trial than taking exact measurements. Because of the legs of my workbench, I had to make some adjustments to make it fit perfectly. When I was satisfied with the fit, I made a bevel on the sides of the pieces to make the best contact surface for the glue. Then I cut a hole for the hose fitting thingy. Once again, I checked the fit. Then it was time for the final assembly. In retrospect, I wonder why I didn't use more of my workbench. I used super glue to assemble the box because then I didn't have to wait for the glue to dry. I'm changing the design. It would be better if the hose is going to the side rather than down. Then I can still use the space under it. As you might see, the miter saw situation is not good. The solution for this problem will come in later videos, as well as the table saw situation, which is also temporary. I used Tech 7 to make a stronger bond and to seal any cracks. Tech 7 is a strong glue that bonds to almost any materials and is perfectly suited for attaching the bend. And now it's time to try it. Not surprising, it didn't perform any good. I calculated it before I started, but as you remember, I ignored it. My dust collector sucks, but not in a good way. I tried to reduce the surface area to less than 70% and that helped. The plastic blast gates are leaking air and I discovered some days later that my tubes was clogged up. The whole system has to be replaced by something that sucks but doesn't suck, if you know what I mean. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe.